We call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Barr,
Here.
Giovanini,
Here.
Eckhoff,
Here.
Callis, Lee,
Here.
Hauser,
Here.
Bradshaw,
Here.
Cranford,
Here.
Howard,
Here.
Willie.
Here.
Thank you. To the consent agenda, we have several items. I hope everybody had a chance to read the minutes of the various meetings. Any questions?
Ton of them.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Jamie,
Second.
seconded by Jerry. Roll call, please.
Barr,
Yes.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Howard, yes, Willie.
Yes.
Thank you. We have need to have a public hearing on the 2024-2025 budget. Jim's been chomping at the bits to get going, so lead away.
Yeah, so here I present with you the 2024-2025 budget. From last year, our expenditures, $8,048,000. This year we look to spend a little bit less than that, $8,033,000. Nothing overly different from the year. Some increased personnel expenses, minimum wage hike. We have a number of projects in the TIF plan, our capital improvement projects, the street program. Finalize those at our committee of the whole meeting. And yeah, I would entertain any questions. We did have one area that, a couple things, I guess, for the public record is to note that the state is clawing back some personal property replacement tax money, about $200,000 worth, that when they are reconciling their numbers that they over allotted to municipalities in the state. And in addition to that, we have, that's a whole $200,000 less than we have this year, than we had last year. And about $300,000 that was going into capital improvement from the splash pad that is returning to a restricted fund. So we were able to make do, and we're okay. But next year, one thing that we have going in our favor is that our liability insurance, we're going to save roughly $200,000 this year on. And so our tax levy in that can be into a less restricted fund there as well that can help maybe fill some of the holes that this created this year. So I would take if any questions or if the public has any comments, questions.
I think that closes out the hearing on the budget right now. We do have one more committee meeting to get finalized, and then likely we'll have a short meeting to give final approval in
Monday the 25th.
25th. So keep that in mind as we move along here. Going to the regular agenda, item 1 is the tax subsidy increase, ordinance 008.
Yeah, so this one is, a while back you approved an increase of the taxi subsidy to $3 per ride, and I did not present an ordinance, so we needed to codify it. So this is the ordinance to codify it, and we'll make that change in our municipal code.
I motion acceptance of the ordinance 2024-0008.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Kelly, seconded by Jamie. Roll call, please.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Barr.
Yes.
Thank you. Infrastructure Committee report.
Infrastructure Committee met on March 12th, discussed the street program for 2024-2025 with a budget of, or expenditures of $737,200, which would include spray patching, sidewalk work, bridge work, and hot asphalt mix from Mill Street, from the bridge to Water Street, Hazel from the north end of Hazel to Indiana Avenue, the North Street Alley, from North Street to Prairie Street, and Arrow Street from Lyon to Pearl Street. Next on our agenda was solar farms. We discussed or suggested no change in any setback requirement along Route 23. However, consideration would be given to, on a case-by-case basis, to vary that setback north of the I-55 interchange if development of the frontage has already occurred. Committee staff for a text amendment to change the, committee recommended staff for a text amendment changing the height of structures on a solar farm from 15 to 20 feet and create guidelines for energy storage structures as part of the solar farm, the standalone special use, if desired. Side grants given on the basis of last year's program, in which time limits of 6 months has expired for grants that were awarded to 215 West Madison, 217 West Madison, 219 West Madison, 221 West Madison, and 103 North Mill. 202 North Main is nearing completion. There are 2 applications at this time for 24-25. Committee approval of a grant for 150 West Madison Street, Living Color, replace door and windows with a total project cost of $33,052 and a grant total of $16,256. Committee approved a grant for Wright Furnishers for door, window, and facade work as outlined in their application for a total of $50,000. It was also discussed to change the program administration. Instead of holding applications when 6 months expires and no work is taking place, the grantee be notified that the grant has expired and a new application may be considered subject to funding. Any questions?
Well, these ones that we, these ones that we recommended, they'll come back to us for a formal vote when.
They will, and I have a couple other items that'll be in our budget meeting, and I'll put it on there.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Frank. No questions. Let's go to resolution IDOT street maintenance.
Okay.
Brian is heading up to give us the overview.
As part of the infrastructure work that was mentioned before in that report, partial funding will come from the motor fuel tax fund, and we are requesting $450,000 expenditure out of the motor fuel tax fund for portions of that work. This needs to go into IDOT prior to our fiscal year to be approved. We're not able to expend this money until IDOT does have approval, so we'd request approval of this $450,000 expenditure for the next fiscal year.
Any questions? But it's a mandatory, so let's look at it that way.
I move to approve.
I'll
second.
Okay, motion by Barb, seconded by Scott. Roll call, please.
Eckhoff,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Giovanini.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to mutual aid fire training prop. I believe Jake has some info to give us. We're firing up a demo, it looks like here, so. I was glad to see Jake brought a backup team too, so just in case we get out of line here.
Good evening, Council. I come before you tonight because there's an opportunity that presents itself that I really hope we can capitalize on. As discussed in all of my previous budget hearings, it's been a long-standing dream of the Pontiac Fire Department to be able to provide a training location where all mutual aid, including fire, law, and EMS, can meet and actually practice real-life scenarios. So that way we're better prepared to respond to any type of emergency, not only in Pontiac, but throughout the county. This has been a long journey. I've only been involved with this process for 10 years, but I know a lot of my predecessors also shared the same dream and worked very hard to try to get something in place in our community. There have been a lot of hurdles along the way to get to this point. One, obviously, is trying to garner financial support, and then two, actually finding a physical site to put this training structure / facility / prop up. So 10 years ago, we started the initiative of trying to raise money in partnership with the Livingston County Mutual Aid Association. We have been able to recently raise up to $38,000 from donors throughout the county. At that point, we decided it was time to start looking for a location. Throughout our journey, we've had several locations that seemed like a right fit, but for whatever circumstances fell through. So we continued our journey trying to find a location to put an actual structure for all of us to go train at. In this past week, I went driving around, as I do every once in a while, to try to look at different locations that the city of Pontiac owns. And I found a site located at the wastewater treatment plant that I think was a perfect location for this. So I reached out to Jake Kincaid. Him and I went and took a look at it. We had some further discussion about if there was any potential future development there regarding his operations. He said there would not be. So him and I approached Jim at the end of last week to see if it was something that he would also support. And he asked me to come before council tonight and share this location and talk to you about our dream and see if we can make it come true. In addition to that, I also have had numerous conversations with Chief Davis and gained his support as well, because like I said, not only fire and EMS would be able to utilize this site, but his police officers would also be able to do numerous types of trainings at this location. The exact location should be provided in your packet, but it is the northwest location. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the wastewater treatment plant, but this location currently just has gravel on it, and I believe there is a trailer from a semi-truck that's sitting back there currently. It butts up against the fence that is dividing between the river and the plant. It's in a very remote, discreet location, which is completely out of public view. And the nice thing about it, as we've research these type of facilities, security is a very important feature because you don't want the general public to be able to break into it and cause any harm or to get hurt. So obviously this is a secure location, which is an added bonus and not an added cost to the project. Like I said, we've discussed amongst the department heads as well as talking to Jim. There is no foreseeable issue with disrupting any type of city operation or any type of development at this location. And like I said, there are numerous things that all of us could utilize this area for. I'm just giving you examples of buildings that are out there. The end goal is to build these out of shipping containers. Obviously, we'd make sure that they look presentable, make sure that they look nice as far as being painted. They would almost look like residential structures. The key here is, though, in the fire service and law enforcement, these are not actually buildings. They're called training props. And that's because of how they're aligned with all of our standards. So they wouldn't fall under the typical building codes because they're actually training props. To ensure that we're protecting our citizens as well as our environment, we would not be burning in this location any type of combustible material. There's a new way out there that we can pipe it using our fake smoke. The same smoke that we use to teach little kids in our public education trailer would be the same type of smoke we'd be using. The benefit of that is we still get the benefit of working in zero visibility like we would at a structure fire, but not causing any harm to the public or environment. This is a joint project between law enforcement, police, or fire and EMS agencies throughout the county. Like I said, the mutual aid was our main partner in this, who helped raise the money, who ultimately all along in the master plan was for the Pontiac Fire Department to manage it. It would be one of my distinct responsibilities to make sure that I ensure that we are overseeing it, making sure it's taken care of, making sure the logistics of scheduling, also making sure that there is a representative from the public safety sector of the City of Pontiac is there when mutual aid partners are there training. So long story short, there would always be a representative from Pontiac Police or Fire there if our mutual aid partners were there training. And most of the time when our mutual aid partners come into our location, we're doing the joint training right next to them anyway. This is something we already do. We just have never had a distinct location to do it at. And finally, if we are granted this tonight to be able to use this location, we would begin the construction process utilizing the mutual aid fund that we have. And also unanimously talking to all of our mutual aid partners who have partnered with us with raising the fund and sharing this dream, we would like to name the facility after Lieutenant Tim Murphy. Hopefully most of you know who Lieutenant Murphy was, but he was very big into making sure that we train with our mutual aid partners. He was one of the lead instructors in the area during his time with the Pontiac Fire Department. He had a very great influence on all the members that fill our command staff, hence why we have a lot of them here tonight in support of this. This is something we felt was the greatest way to honor Tim Murphy, is to honor this complex after him. So that way all first responders would be able to come here and better their skills to ultimately serve our citizens. So tonight I come before council to gain your blessing and approval to be able to utilize this location so that way we can move forward with the construction of the training prop. Any questions?
Do we have a budget for this?
So right now, we have no cost at this point, just other than the land that we'd have and then using the mutual aid's funds.
But we will own it. The city of Pontiac will own it.
Yes.
Yeah, we're a mutual aid partner, so we own it, being a part of the mutual aid association. So,
But our responsibility would be for all of the maintenance.
Does this structure need an architect's stamp on it?
no, it does not. It's a training prop, so that's why hence we call it training prop and not a building code. So they're throughout the entire Illinois. If you go traveling, a lot of them are in smaller towns, and a lot of them, due to their skilled workers that are on the department, put it together. So I've talked to numerous state agencies that do the same thing, and they all gave me the language to say it's a training prop, so that way we're following those type of standards. So
Would this be covered under our blanket insurance program.
Yeah, it would be no different than if they came today and we decided to train out at the city garage flowing water. Everyone's under their own blanket insurance as far as the departments that they're coming and representing. If I went to Forest, Illinois tonight and trained at their location, I'd be covered under the city of Pontiac policy. So,
What about actual damage? I mean, covers the physical plant? Say the tornado comes through and it scatters. I mean,
Yeah,
is
that's
that if the city doesn't own it, who's got the insurable interest and has the property insurance? I understand workers' comp, whoever's there is gonna be under their coverage.
right, that's an excellent question. That's something that I did not think of, so that's something we'd have to explore to make sure.
Perhaps under the mutual aid agreement, we should have ownership and add it to the policy, but everybody's responsible for their own damages and use. Maybe it's just a matter of our mutual aid agreement language.
Yeah, something like an intergovernmental agreement.
And that, you would have to end up with an entity that buys that insurance separately, which is probably not, it's not, I mean, with shipping containers and no combustible stuff, you're probably not gonna have a fire. But, you know, wind, that type of damage, you know, I could see what a tornado might do with the shipping containers.
Yeah. Typically, the reason they use shipping containers is if they are damaged, you get rid of them and replace them with a new one. So, and obviously the end goal is not to put the financial burden solely on Pontiac. It's a shared responsibility that we continue to get donations for. So,
I think under our liability, insurance would probably be the best method. We'll be the overwhelming main users of the facilities. I can't imagine it's going to make any significant change.
Do we have a motion?
Definitely the best site
I've-
I've looked at.
Move to accept that proposal.
Motion by John Willie, seconded by Jerry Cowser to accept the program and facility. Roll call, please.
Lee,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff.
Yes.
thank you, Council.
Thanks, Jake. Appreciate it. Moving along, we have salt purchases, one of Chris's favorite subjects.
Yeah, why we have to plan now for next winter. So the state of Illinois lets a master contract for the vast majority of the communities in the state that utilize rock salt. And they moved away from a paper submittal last year to an online portal where we have to go in and put our information in. And new for this year, they're requiring an agreement, a signed agreement showing that the governing board allows us to do that. I would imagine so nobody can just go in and order something and then claim they didn't have permission. So would be my bet. But anyway, so we're asking for approval to be able to have that authority given to us from you, the city council, so we can make our salt requisitions every year.
So moved.
I'll second.
You're gonna need to fill in the blanks. Is it gonna be Chris or Jim for name and title? Governmental
Your
units,
pleasure.
obviously,
I would
City of
assume
Pontiac.
Chris.
I would
Yeah,
say
Chris.
they can have multiple names on it.
Oh, yeah.
Put them both on.
Or yeah, it says may list
Yeah.
more than one.
Yeah.
Them both.
Yeah.
They can both take the lead.
Multiple names. Motion by Kelly, seconded by Scott. Roll call, please.
Hauser,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Giovanini,
Yes,
Eckhoff,
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving along. Looks like we're on to most greens. So, Gary?
I brought Shannon along. Excuse me, I brought Shannon along just to answer any specific questions you may have this evening. We're looking, as Chris is looking for salt for next year, we're looking at green mowers for the 2025 season with this lease. The mower we have currently has been exhausted, and our staff has done a remarkable job at keeping it up and going the last couple of years. So looking to purchase a new one with this lease for the 2025 golf season with your approval. And would entertain any questions you have at this time.
So you've got two different proposals here.
Yep.
And there's two different mowers, it looks like.
There is. We have two options to choose from. One is 6-month May to October lease. One of those comes with groomers on the mower, and the other one just comes as a basic greens mower. And both of those options are in the 12-month and the 6-month option. My recommendation, since we do not have verticutting reels, would be to go with the groomers, because it's kind of a way to do that without having the separate reels that won't be coming with this machine.
Is John Deere the only ones?
So I reached out to Toro too, and the earliest that they could get it to us would be the middle of June 25, maybe not even till July 25, and it was about $1,200, $1,500 more expensive. So I left it off.
And what was the date of delivery on these?
Talking to him last week, he said he'd have it probably end of February, middle of February in 25. So we wouldn't see it or use it until the 25 golf season.
Jim, do we normally lease equipment?
So,
When I add up the loss of with interest, it's kind of.
and I guess you guys can correct me, but I think when we took the golf course, that stuff came with it.
Yeah.
So we haven't had to purchase a greens mower, and economically, I think our best option right now is to lease it, and to lease it during the seasonal lease rather than a monthly lease, when the revenue stream is the highest. Seems to be the best option.
So the greens mower is my most active piece of equipment on the course. Gets used pretty much daily. So about every 5 years, it ends up with 350,000 miles on it. So it'd be one of those things that by the time the lease ends, we're going to be putting a lot of money into equipment repair, that sort of thing.
$16,000 worth into repairs? I mean, the interest on
Well,
the lease is the interest rate. They like it. It's really, I think that's the max, right?
I'm still confused if it's one mower or two.
no, it's one.
Yeah.
It's one mower with two options. So the top number, right, the higher number of the two is with groomers on it, and the
So
second
we're only
one.
going to be doing one of these.
Correct.
One or the other.
Correct.
So
one or the other.
if
Yep.
if we chose the top,
Well, how come?
we're just gonna, like, for instance, on the 60 month, if we did it monthly, we would be $986.76 a month times 60 months.
Correct.
Okay.
So like
Or
I
if we
broke
did
that down to
the
yearly, so
other
it's like
lease.
$11,000
I
a
think that's
year.
where it's confusing to
All right.
most of us, is that it looks like we're
combined
buying
the two,
all
yeah.
of this.
Oh, God, I follow you. Sorry, those are just the options we have for each version of it.
Okay.
So I think I have it in front of me here. I aren't the best, but so the first
if
page.
No, you go ahead, I'm sorry.
So the what is it? 1942 would be with the groomers for, that'd be the one Jim's recommended, the 6-month May to October. The underneath one would be without the groomers, and the same thing for the second page. And yeah, I'm just asking for the one mower, wouldn't be purchasing two.
But the amount financed is the same regardless of
Correct.
whether it's, I think
Correct.
that's where we're confused. Jerry's thinking we're paying that,
Yeah,
but the total is the same, it's just, right?
Correct. By my math, the 12-month lease is like $110 more expensive.
Yeah, okay. Does that
But,
make sense, Jerry? Do you see what I?
yeah, it does now,
Yeah.
but it
But-
doesn't say that anywhere.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, it says term of 60 months, so you think you're
Right.
paying that, you're doing
I assumed
60
we had
payments.
Nope,
But
nope,
we're
sorry
just
for
doing
the
6
confusion on that one.
payments.
Looked like a 5-year loan.
Like a
to me.
golf
Yeah.
lease.
So it's gonna be 30 payments on the one instead,
Right.
and 60 on the other.
Yep.
Total of 58,000 and change.
Yeah.
And I was talking a little bit about it last week, but with the sponsorships we've raised this year and donations, that's upwards of almost $8,000. So, I don't necessarily know that it can exactly work like this, but that can help alleviate maybe some of the stress of the cost of that. And it's cost us since 21 of purchasing the golf course just under $25,000 in equipment repair for the 2 greens mowers we do currently have.
Now makes sense.
That is over the life, correct?
What's that?
That's since we took
That's
advantage
since
of it.
21, yep.
I want to buy one.
And I guess my other biggest fear is it goes down to the middle of the season, and that's an unexpected cost that we
Yep, we don't wanna
wouldn't
have to
know.
buy
We
it.
wouldn't know
We haven't planned
what
for it.
we can at least plan for
Yeah,
this
that
one.
That was the other
Yeah.
benefit is while it's leased, if anything goes wrong with it, they fix it.
Yeah.
And it's not till next February that we potentially,
Right.
the earliest that we
And-
start
and-
paying
First
for it.
payment wouldn't come until next budget.
Yep, correct.
Right.
My only thought would be is as soon as we can get it on the books, the faster it'll get here is my only.
Okay.
Well, I'd make the motion to take it, accept it, if we need to.
Pardon?
Did you need a motion to?
Jerry? Yes.
I'll second.
Motion by Jerry, seconded by Jason.
The
Thank you much.
specifics, the seasonal pay on which of the 2 mowers?
Sorry?
Which of the 2 mowers? The one with the grooming stuff?
The one with all the attachments,
The 50,432.08.
Right.
And the seasonal pay, and I guess it's $1 purchase at the end. If it's got any value, you'd probably
Yep,
get it.
yep. So we'll have that option if we wanted to at the end. Like if this mower ends up being amazing, there's $1 buyout at the end that would be substantially less.
Probably worth that for parts for the next one.
Potentially, yes. Okay. Well, we have motion and seconds. Jerry and Jason. Roll call, please.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hauser.
Yes.
I don't think anybody's volunteering to run it though, so be prepared.
No future retirees?
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks again. Moving on, appointment. Sherry Lambert, who's been serving on the Fire Pension Board, her term is expiring next month, and we would like to have, she would like to be reappointed to the board. She's done a great job, and Sherry is a dedicated community person, and so we would like to get a motion to appoint her back to the Fire Pension Board.
I'll move.
Motion by John Williams, seconded by Jerry. Roll call, please.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hauser.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, we do have need for executive session, so I'm gonna keep mayor's comments a little bit limited. I'd like to tell you that my wife went to the Music Man, and it turns out we have a lot of amazing talent here in Pontiac, including Mr. Wolford's family and Jamie's family, and I understand Daniel was exceptional. So congratulations. It was a great show. This past Friday, Robin Kelly, our congresswoman, was here, and she met with police and fire and other people and went to the Farm Bureau breakfast and was informing us of many grants that may be available to us. And so we're glad to see her in and finding Pontiac on a regular basis. On a different note, I'm sure you all read the story about Lincoln Prison and Stateville having some demolishing and things coming. And Pontiac was mentioned in there as a facility of repair. Well, I talked with Tom Bennett, and he's also talked with the new director of prisons and whatnot, and we are not on an agenda for any demolition or reduction. Some work to be refurbishing is in the works for them, but no other details are available, but there is no immediate plans for any big change. So I've had about half a dozen phone calls since those articles came out expressing concern. So trying to keep up on it, and with Mr. Bennett and of course with Mr. Tipsword, Mr. Bunting, who are our representatives, we will keep on top of this as we try to keep our perspective of wanting to keep the facility and everything here. So other than that, I think those were the main subjects to get into. I think city council comments. Oh, moving right along. Jim has something to say.
Couple,
Yes.
real short. Finance Committee, Wednesday at 5:30. And just a thanks to the staff. It's been a busy time during this budget and going through all of their budgets. They've provided me with tremendous insight. We've processed through a lot of system changes over the year, a couple things that are coming. We still have the airport project, which should be kicking off pretty soon. The ambulance substation, we're nearing closer to having something going on that. And I just got word that our employee handbook should be just about ready. We sent that off to our insurance provider to get their legal expertise off of it, and they sent back some recommendations with it. So this new year will bring about a few new changes as well, as we update some different systems to try and help us track construction and permitting a little bit better, as well as some changes to our general ledger and administrative processes here at City Hall. Other than that, that's it.
Can I back up to the council? Something I forgot about. I missed the meeting last Thursday with community enrichment, and maybe this was discussed, although it's not in the minutes, but we've been 2 or 3 summers talking about some guidelines for the downtown outdoor seating. Are we going to get to another summer where we don't have any guidelines for outdoor seating?
So we talked about that, and with the desire to push ahead for the Madison Street project, I didn't necessarily really feel comfortable in telling them to go build something this year when it may not fit what the overall plan is. So the idea was to get them through again this year, and as we start looking at what this final outcome might look like, then we can, I think, get a little better glimpse of how that should look.
Okay.
I feel like we have our potential project here, the Centennial Plaza. That's going to cause a little bit of disruption for them, and then Madison Street will cause disruption. I wanted to limit that exposure for our businesses down there.
Okay. Public comments. Anybody have a comment or two? No? Okay. As I said, we do have need for executive session, so we will take a motion to adjourn to executive session. Scott and John. Roll call, please.
Bradford,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
hesitating on that, Joe Vanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sure, it's like a meeting.
And give us about